Alright, so we back. Part 2. Retardedly. But all praise is the Most High. How about shooting out shot? Alright, so yeah, so now I can really say what I want to say. Alright, so the covenant that he said he was gonna make, he comes to Abram in chapter 15, not in chapter 15, but you know, the account of him first coming to Abram is in chapter 15 of Genesis, verse 8, I believe, 18, and it reads, it says, so just to go back over it real quick, he made a covenant, that's a deal, agreement that he was going to give Abram. Basically, a deal is what, each party expects. So the Most High had he just put it out there like, I'm giving you and your seed through this covenant, all this land, all these people's land, period. Because that's just what it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because he the Most High, he could do that. All right, which is why everybody wants to think they're the child of Abraham, because he's called the father of many nations, which is they think they come from Abram because of that, but that's just incorrect. You gotta literally be a seed of Abraham, and everybody on the planet Earth don't come from Abraham. That don't make any sense. Everybody comes from Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and Abraham comes from Shem. So that's a cut right there. Anyway, so he told him he's going to establish his covenant with Abram, in chapter 17, right, verse 7, with him and with his seed, and in their generations, for an everlasting covenant to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. And and then he went on to say in verse 8, and I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger. You're not even from this land, but all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their power. All right, and he said, and the power said unto Abram, thou shalt call my covenant, therefore thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. And he basically went on to tell him in verse 10, his covenant was the circumcision. So at this time he had already had Ishmael, but by Sarah's handmaid, or because she couldn't conceive at the time. So they wanted to, that's the way, our ancient way of how it's like a surrogate. You know what I'm saying? How that's where they get that from. Okay. You can still have seed, raised up, because that was really like, a woman's value. So the next best thing, she has a handmaid, boom, we have a child, Now, the covenant is able to be kept with, not that covenant, but basically that, you could say that. That covenant was able to be kept by Ishmael, because he went on to be circumcised because he was in his house, but it wasn't established with him, as it went on to say in verse 19 of chapter 17, I will establish my covenant with him. And the him, verse 19, and God said, Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son. Well, I'm going to start at 18 again, just because, if you didn't, you left off from part 1 and then watch part 2 to the next day or something. I don't know, anything like that, right? Just do re-go over it real quick. So it says in verse 19 or verse 18, Abraham, because he had his name changed at this point, he said unto Yahweh, or unto the power, that Ishmael might live before thee, because that was his son he had just had, his only son. And it said, verse 19, and the power says, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant. Salakia. Right? For an everlasting covenant. Where am I? And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. So there you go. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And he said he basically went on to tell him that he heard him about Ishmael or whatever, and I'm gonna bless him, and 12 princes gonna come out of him. He's gonna raise up 12 princes, and they were gonna be a great nation, But long story short, verse 21, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time and next year. Verse 22, and he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham. So that was it. So you see, today, Ishmael, we could identify Ishmael being the Arabs, so-called Arabs, true, which a lot of them aren't, because if you go into the word Arab, it just means mixed. And if you go into later on, like you go like chapter 27, when Esau and Jacob comes into the picture after Abram is going on, right? Everything plays out. Esau, well, we'll get into that. I think we're gonna end up covering that. But Esau, he just, long story short, he goes into dealing with Ishmael's daughters. And everything is declared by the seed of the father. You are what your father are. So a lot of those people that look like Ishmaelites are in fact Edomites. All right. So either way, my point being, as I said, Ishmael, so-called Arab Muslims, they have a Hebraic culture because they come from Abraham. They don't eat pork. The women cover themselves. Everything is in order. The men is he's the head. They just do it in a heathen fashion because they still, in fact, they're heathens. Period. They're heathens. They were out the true power. They were out the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the Most High. Which makes you a heathen. Physically and spiritually. Because you just live like an animal without it. The only thing they really know about is not eating, just because they're of the Hebraic line. He learned from Ishmael, was able to learn from his father the right way to be, and the only person that's truly the wicked of the earth is Esau. Period. He represents the wicked, and Jacob, who goes on to be the promised seed we're going to go into, he goes on to represent the good, and everybody else is just extras. All right. So that's that. Now, once again, the blessed seed only. It's only about the blessed seed only, man. And there is no such thing as a spiritual Israelite. Thus, this is all proven. Now, let me see if I want to go into this. Let's go ahead and prove who, even though it just said, but we're going to go ahead and actually just go into who that seed went on to be, because he said in Isaac will I establish that covenant. But let's go to Genesis 21 and 12 really quick. And we're going to do that like that. All right, 21 and 12. It says, and the power said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous. Or and God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. Because this is at the point where Ishmael is about to be sent off with his mother Hagar, because the Most High not dealing with him. It's just that simple. It says, and it's really because of through Sarah, because she basically the traits of the woman was used to basically send Ishmael off, because the Most High just wasn't dealing with Ishmael. So it says, she basically became envious, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which because Hagar is an Egyptian, she was a daughter of Ham, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even Isaac. Verse 11, and the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. So this is further helping is only about the blessed seed, man. It says, verse 12, and God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah or Sarai, I like pronouncing it Sarai, had said unto thee. So you like, don't trip on what she's saying to you. Don't worry about what she's saying to you. Okay. He said, and all Sarai said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Because he was just using, that's how women are, but it was really by the Spirit. The Most High was using, the traits of these women, or of a woman, just to just show it's only about the blessed seed, man. He not dealing with Ishmael. So you Muslims, you Quran keepers, you Jakes that's truly Israelites, you so-called blacks, hell, if you a so-called Hispanic or Native American thinking you a Muslim, the Most High not dealing with the Muslims, because that's Ishmael. You see what's happening to him. He said, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So that seed was going to be in Isaac. Period. So when Isaac has his seed, that's when this is all going to start. The covenant, the blessings. The blessed seed will be Isaac's seed. Let me read it again. Verse 12, Genesis 21 and 12. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, which is Hagar, and in all that Sarai has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Because Isaac is already born at this point. Right? It's just that simple. So the seed, he was dealing with Isaac, and Isaac was going to bear the seed, which went on to be Isaac's seeds went on to be Jacob and Esau. All right, and you should know the rest, how it went down. So to this day, everybody's still fighting over this birthright. Esau sold it. Other people want to cleave to it that never doesn't even come from this lineage, and we're gonna cut all that. It says, but verse 13, and also of thy son of thy bondwoman will I make a nation, as he said, because he is thy seed. But he's not the blessed seed. See? So that's that. Now, that's why the Muslims, they're a powerful nation. Everyone is suffering under this so-called white man Esau, which is why he just got to be eradicated off the face of the earth. He's the only person that wants to keep up hell and wicked and conquer people and be conniving and steal your land and your resources and just pollute the earth, the air, the food, come up with all these new ways of thinking. He's a goddamn maniac, man. So he must be stopped at all costs. Last chapter, 28, and this by the Spirit too, because another brother was bringing out something along these lines, but not necessarily about this. This wasn't the focus of his topic, but it says Genesis chapter 28, verse. We're gonna start at 1. So the blessed seed, who in Isaac shall thy seed be called. It just told us that in Genesis chapter 21 and verse 12. Okay? So Isaac is already born at this point. Now we're just waiting for Isaac to bring forth the seed to where the covenant and the blessing and the promise, could be manifested through. All right? Or two. Through and two. Okay? Two and through. Through and two. Okay, 28, and we're going to chapter 28 of Genesis, verse 1. Now, Isaac, so another scripture proving who is the blessed seed. Okay? So it says, verse 1. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him. Just getting straight to the nitty-gritty. That's it. It's just that simple. It says, and charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Whole nother topic. That's a good topic right there, though. But we'll go into that later. Arise, Lord willing, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Ratazah. It said, arise to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. Because this is how the Most High wanted us to deal. Okay? It says, and Alashadiah bless thee, and make thee fruitful and multiply. And multiply thee, Salakia, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. So that kind of helps the confusion right there, because everybody think they came from Abraham for some reason, because he's the father of all nations. Abram originally meant high father, exalted father, and then he changed his name to Abraham because he told him he was going to be the father of many nations, which is because the Israelites were just simply going to be, his seed was simply going to be scattered everywhere, because there was going to be some hard-headed ass people that was not going to keep the covenant that he told them you must walk in and your seed. That's why he was already setting it up, which we'll get into. It says just through his name. It was all written already. Okay? And we wasn't even here yet. But you so-called Negroes, hard-headed ass Negroes, hard-headed ass so-called Native American Indians, you hard-headed ass, stiff-necked Latinos, Hispanics, whichever byword you want to pick. Okay? And 2/3 of you ain't gonna make it anyway, so this is only about the ones that want to listen, ask questions, and come back to the true power and their identity. Most High ain't dealing with no Mexican, no black dude, no black chick, no damn Indian. He ain't dealing with that, man. No damn Taino. He not dealing with that, period. Okay? So you are of the blessed seed, though, nonetheless. But anyway, verse 3. And Alashadiah, which is God Almighty in Hebrew, bless thee and make thee fruitful and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. Which is another thing to prove that, the Muslims, they're close to the chosen seed, which is where they get the word Allah, because they're from that lineage. Allah just means God in Hebrew. That's it. But they tell you you're speaking Arabic. So it's just that simple, man. God Almighty, Allah Shadia. Allah, God, Shadia, Almighty. God All-Powerful, God Almighty. Alright? Allah Shadia. That's it, man. Allah, however you want to pronounce it. That's where they get that. That's how they know it. And that's not his name. His name is Yahweh, so they never even had the name. Alright. It says, so for stand-up point, this who is it? So it's already really said. It's really that simple. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him. But just keep going. So he says, and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise and go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel thy father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty, Allah Shadia, bless thee and make thee fruitful and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people. That same thing he told Abram was going to be, or Abraham was going to be manifested through Jacob. Period. And give thee the blessing of Abraham. See? into thy seed with thee. So it wasn't even just, so it had to go through. Most High he had to run it through a process real quick. It went through. It's all about his choice, man. Abram had 2 sons. He didn't pick Ishmael. He picked Isaac. He had to run it through Isaac. Isaac had 2 sons. He didn't pick Esau. He picked Isaac. He picked Jacob. Period. Yaquab. He didn't pick Ishah, which is Esau in Hebrew. He picked Yaquab, which is Jacob in Hebrew. By the Spirit. He really wanted it to be Esau, but Esau is a goddamn devil, damn wicked, and the Most High once again. See, that's that. It just was meant. It's the same thing. Abraham wanted to be Ishmael, but the Most High like, no, this is who I want. I want him. Not to make you these women big-headed, but the woman, he used the woman. She had that insight on that. Same thing happens with Isaac and Rebecca. He wanted to give it to Esau, but the Most High, through her trace, the trace of a woman, or whatever, but that's a real topic. Somehow she caught on, and it's the same thing. So you people try to look at, well, Jacob stole it. No, he used his traits that he gave him just so it could manifest it. But ultimately, through the Spirit, that was the Father's choice, because man's goings are of the Lord. Period, man. The answer of the tongue, thought of man, the thought of man, the preparations of man, the preparations of the mind in man, of the heart in man, which is your mind. But the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. I tell you that in Proverbs 16 and 1. So ultimately, Isaac was thinking he wanted to just bless Esau, but ultimately he ended up blessing. The blessing ended up coming out and going into Jacob, because that's what the Father wanted. It's just that simple, man. Now, verse 4, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land, wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. That's simple, man. So Jacob got it, and now it was going to be manifested through his seed. That was it. Who did Jacob end up having? Jacob ended up having the Israel. He ended up getting his name changed to Israel, and he ended up having everybody that came from him will be what? Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Native American Indians, and Hispanics or Latinos. Okay, verse 5. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padan Aram. Laban, son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah. All right. And Jacob and Esau's mother. Rebekah was Jacob and Esau's mother. Verse 6. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob. So it's official. It's official. The blessing went to Jacob, man. He sold it. We skipped the part. We skipped the account how it went down, But that's ultimately what it was. Just to get straight to the point, When he saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, "Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother and was gone up from Padan. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael and took unto the wives which he had Mahalat, the daughter of Ishmael, Abram's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. So he's nigga was a goddamn demon. He's a little wicked ass nigga, man. That's why the father ain't have it go down for him, man. Because he was set up to be the wicked. Just like Ishmael set up to be the wicked. Because they wicked too. But Esau is he's literally wicked. He's the wicked. Period, man. Father picked who he want, man. So it's about the blessed seed only. There's no such thing as a spiritual Israelite. And these people, we even understood it in the ancient times. So Esau like, why even try? Hell, I could just steal it and say I'm the people. That's what he's doing. Now, the confusion. We're gonna go ahead and get into that real quick. Why do everybody think that he's the father of all nations. I'm the seed of so they think it's spiritual. This is proof it's not spiritual because it was literally physical seeds and ones that were chosen. If you could be a spiritual, and that helps prove you can't be a spiritual Israelite, because why can't Ishmael just cleave? Why can't Esau just cleave? Esau written to be done away with. So you can fake believe all you want, but you're not gonna inherit the promises, the covenants, the blessings, none of that, man. It's not for you. It's only for the blessed, it's the blessed seed only, man. No such thing as a spiritual Israelite, man. This should be helping prove all this. Lord willing, Yahweh Shall willing it is. Genesis 22:18, really quick. And it says, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. So this is where people got mistaken at, right? Because it's all the nations. It's through Abraham that everyone's blessed. He said all nations, right? And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. All right, let's get another one real quick. So why does it say that? So we're just gonna go ahead and prove why does it say that. 26:4, Genesis. All right, it says, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thee and give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. From the top, Genesis 26:4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. Can you count the stars? So how the hell could all these people just be in one spot? Thus, why he named him Abraham. In your seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because there are more stars than there are nations. But the nations within themselves are pretty big. You know, Africa is pretty big. But there are more stars than the amount of space in Africa. And over time, you have seen that happen. Thus showing you how right the 12 tribes chart is. But we didn't only limit it to this. This is what you people don't know. It's not only limited to this. The Most High gave it to Elder Ariah. And he gave it, and he taught the men on down, and through the Spirit we're receiving it, through the Ruach HaKodesh. From Judah on down to Issachar, man, all 12 tribes. Negroes, that's one nation of people. It's Negroes all over the planet. West Indians, that's so-called people from the islands, you know, Jamaicans and stuff like that. Where Rihanna's from, you know, Haitians, right? All these people are nations in themselves. So to say all these people are the same people, do you know how many people that is? Do you know how many people that is? It says we got Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Guatemalan Panamanians, Cubans, North American Indians, Seminole Indians. You got different branches of Indians, complete nations. One tribe is a nation, man. So there you go. And you look into that word tribes, you can substitute it for nations. Argentinians, Chileans, Colombians, and that's all the land of Peru, man. You know, Honduras, you know, etc. All that is within Peru. It says Colombia, Uruguay, Mexico, and then you got people, Jake during World War I or II, I believe. Jake was sent over to be on the front line. You know, during the Harlem Hellfighters and stuff like that, right? And a lot of the Jakes that were being sent over there were leaving seed They were mingling with the women that were over there, heathen women, so-called white women, Edomite women, and they was leaving seed over there, man, raising up, leaving seed. They were having their childs, and a lot of those jakes over there under the curses, because what the mothers do, they put them up for adoption. I'm gonna bring that out, Lord willing. It's already put together. Just Most High got to put the spirit on me to bring that out. But that's it, man. So these same people, when you go into the history and you understand history, all these people proved by the curses, by prophecy, by the things that were said to the Israelites, they completely fit. We completely fit. All these different people completely fit. And that's Europe, what I was just mentioning. That they were sent over to Europe. Europe, man. So-called Negroes left seed over there. Because you got you Negro-only ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? Jake is all over the planet, man. Jacob was scattered. Abraham is all throughout the planet. That chosen seed is in every nation. Period. We in Australia. We're everywhere, man. We're everywhere. We're from the four corners of the earth, which is what this goes into. So he says, I'm going to quit talking and just let the scriptures. Genesis chapter 26, verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. All this one seed turns into all these different people, you know, through curses. Because they were all called bywords, and Esau was the one that was able to have dictatorship over that to cause confusion. He gave everybody a different byword. But it's really one seed. They're all the same seed. And I will be in the blessed seed of Abraham, in fact, in truth. You know? And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these. So that's why he will be the father of all nations, because you're going to have so many, this seed is going to turn into so many people, it's going to be like the stars of heaven. So just off logic, off simple logic with that, wouldn't these people have to be all the nations or amongst all the nations? Because we're going to break this down even further. Because it's not that they're all the nations, they're among all the nations. If you know the scriptures, you know history, Israelites were scattered through the diaspora or the diaspora, however you want to pronounce it, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. So the land of Israel is only for all those people I just named and more. It's too many, man. It's too many. But all these people we have on here prove that they're Israelites, man. It's just that simple, man. And they fit these tribes. It's just that simple. I don't even understand it, man. It says, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Now let's find out why all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Let's find out why. 28 and 14. Here we go. We're getting deep now. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. One more. The dust of the earth. Can you count the dust? Can you count the stars? So how the hell? That's why his name was Abraham, the father of many nations, man. The father of all nations. But we're going to find out why it's all nations. So not only the stars of heaven, of the sky, because heaven is talking about the sky, you know, different skies, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west. And Jacob's seed end up fulfilling this, as we just read. He said, and thou shalt spread abroad, because your seed is you, so you're your seed as well. And thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in thee and in thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Because they're going to be everywhere, man. It's that simple. They're not going to be everybody. That don't even make sense. Abraham only comes from Shem. Everybody after the flood was populated. The earth was repopulated by Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Everybody didn't come from one brother. They came from one of the three brothers. It's just that simple, man. And Abraham only came from Shem. So what about Ham's? What about his cousins, Ham's sons?
Because Shem will be his dad, and Ham will be his uncle. So what about his cousins? Ham. They have which are the progenitor of the so-called dark races, not the Negroes. Real Africans. What about them? They have no right into this, man. They don't even not even all Shemites, real Shemitic, not Semites, because we don't even know who that is. That's not even biblical. We don't even know where Esau get this from. Amalek, Ishar. We don't know where you get this from, man. Ashkenazi, whatever. Ashkenaz, where you get this from, man? But Shemites, all the Shemites, being East Indian people, you know? Ishmael, he's a Shemite. Esau's a Shemite. They all come from Shem. They all come from Abraham. All the Shemitic people don't even get dibs to this. So how the hell, man? It says, so that's it, man. He said they were going to spread everywhere, from the north to the south and the east to the west. And in I see shall all the nations be blessed, because they're going to be everywhere, man. It's just that simple. Now, Deuteronomy 4:27, when the seed of Jacob finally manifested, when the covenant was, when these blessings and promises could finally take shape, you know, start to form, because that seed is here now. As Isaac told Jacob, that his seed was going to multiply, because that was it. It was going to happen to his seed, and that was it, man. So only through Jacob, who is Israel, who is the Israelites. So the Israelites are the blessed seed, and there is no such thing as a spiritual Israelite, which we're getting into right now. Deuteronomy 4:27, and it reads, and the Lord, matter of fact, let's get some context real quick. Deuteronomy, why that it says, and all nations. Deuteronomy 1:1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel, all the Israelites on this side. These be the words, Deuteronomy 1:1, chapter 1, verse 1. First thing said in this book for perfect context, right? Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran and Tophel and Laban and Hazeroth and Dazaah. All Israel, only, right? Deuteronomy chapter 4, the 4th chapter, verse 27, and it reads, and Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations. That's it, man. And ye shall be left fewer in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. There you go, man. That was a curse that he told was going to happen to the Israelites, man. And we're everywhere, man. The Israelites are everywhere. Deuteronomy 28:64. And it reads, I got to wrap this up. 28:64. Once again, this was ridiculous. 28:64. And it reads, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. That ain't what he said, north, south, east, and west. This is a curse said to the Israelites. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone. See, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have a rest. Man, it's over with, man. Among these nations, man. That's why he said that to them. That's why Abraham was called the father of all nations. That's how all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because the Israelites were going to be scattered among all nations. Among all nations. And among all nations, the seed, the promise who holds the covenant, you know, the everlasting covenant through Jacob's seed, which is Israel. So Israelites being his seed, the seed of Israel, Israelites, we will be scattered. They will be scattered among all people. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease. So that's north, south. He said all people. Let me read it again. Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. Verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease. Because y'all the goddamn wicked. 30 and 3. Trying to cleave. Deuteronomy 30 and 3. That then, but here's the good news. This is the gospel. That then Yahweh, thy power, will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. Deuteronomy 30 and 3. Then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations where the Lord thy God have scattered thee. And that's it. And that's what the New Testament is about. I'm going to get that really quick because I'm going to do a part 3 and come back. That's where Yahweh was coming. Those are the lost scattered sheep, man. James 1 and 1. And it reads, James chapter 1 and 1. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahweh HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting, my brethren, because he is Israelite as well. James 1 and 1. James, a servant of God of the Lord Yahweh HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall in diverse temptations. It's that simple, man. This ain't talking, the blessed seed only. There's no such thing as a spiritual Israelite. So with that, I'm going to say, Call Halam, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Wakabah, Wahadar, to the hopeful elect, the faithful elect, the Ma'abak